Argentina and England this weekend, folks. Sporting rivalry continues. This time it's in the Nations Championship, the final week of this southern leg of the competition for 2026. After the football the other day, we get rugby on the cards. But England are favourites. They always beat Argentina. They are definitely Argentina's bogey team. Like, even when Argentina would be favourites, or if England have a red card, England just always seem to have the wood on Argentina. Argentina beat my All Blacks with relative ease compared to their matches up against England, but is this the week they change it? We will see. We'll go through the squads which have been announced, some predictions, some stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts. The Argentinian side is pretty stable. England's is pretty stable as well. Remarkably so. So there's fewer points to talk about in terms of the coaches chopping and changing. Vivas starting at loosehead prop is one of the only changes to the team for the Argentinians, the only change in the forward pack. He was on the bench, now he starts. Montoya and Rapetti alongside him. Rapetti, big physical unit for a young man, and Montoya going to tackle the house down. Petty and Alemano continue their skills in enforcer roles, and then Grondona, Crema, and Oviedo means Matera is still on the bench for this one. Crema was effective in his first game back when they played better. Argentina, like they're 1-1. But they played a lot better against Wales last week than they did in week 1 against Scotland. They need to come out of the blocks more like that Wales game than they did against the Scots. But yeah, Krem is going to be a big part of that. But Oviedo was certainly the star of the forward pack last week. He dominated the carry count, 20 carries, couple of tries, run meters galore, busting tackles. He was a man possessed, so certainly a guy to look out for. In the back line, Garcia and Albanaz continue the 9-10 combo, and then Santi Carreras is the kind of other man to mention in that 9-10-15 axis, is the other playmaker at 15. He had a heap of carries as well. Like we always talk about Albanaz being a really exciting ball-carrying 10, because he is. He likes to attack the line, but also Santi Carreras at 15 actually had more carries than Albanaz did, so really looking to get himself into some space as well. Plus, you got to mention Picardo there at 12. It was a big improvement, you feel like, in the Argentinian backline, having Picardo finishing his duties with Montpellier, back to the Pumas for round 2 of this competition. Just looked very comfortable, and likewise looking to get his hands on the ball. 15 carries from Picardo, 15 from Santi Carreras, 20 from Oviedo. That's part of the spine of the team, who are all looking to be very direct on the carry, and it was really, really effective against Wales. Moroni is the veteran who's up from the bench at 13 this week, so Sinti drops down. The wings are still the same, Carreras and Delgui. They were effective on the kick chase at times versus Wales, and as I mentioned, Santi is there still at fullback. Ruiz, Wegner, and Delgado, so there are some changes on the bench with Delgado coming in as tight head replacement. Winger drops to the bench. Elias is in from top 14 duties to be the lock replacement, so the youngster gets another bit of experience here. Matera, the veteran, is still there. Joaquin Moro, the loose forward, is there in the 21 jumper, so it's a 6-2 split for the Argentinians looking to bring it up front. And then Benitez Cruz and Sinti, the two back replacements. Sinti, very versatile, can cover so many positions in the back line. It's a good guy to have in that position, although he can consider himself a bit unlucky because I thought he played pretty well last week too. For England, big win last week. Like, they were disappointing over in South Africa, but no shame on any side going to South Africa and losing at the minute, because the Boks are in very, very good form. I worry for my All Blacks. 4 matches up against the Springboks on the cards this year, but hey, we'll not get to that just yet. Better against Fiji for sure in Liverpool. Despite the conditions being very hot and humid, they put the Fijian guys to the sword. And they've kept the same starting 15. I guess for Borthwick, if it ain't broke, do not fix it. Gens, George, and Hayes, same front row as last week, so they were very effective against the Fijian front row. You'd like to think the Argentinians will prove to be a bit more of a handful than what we saw last week. Coles and Martin. Coles was just quietly a bit of a workhorse, right? 11 tackles, topped the tackle count for the English in that game, and Chesum Pepper and Earl. No temptation to bring youngster Henry Pollock up from his cameo from the bench, which saw him get a hat-trick. He is still riding the pine for this one. Van Portfleet and Finn Smith at 9 and 10. Finn Smith was also very silky last week. You got to admire his game defensively, but also his cross kicks and his ability to get the back line humming, so pleased for him. Seb Atkinson and Henry Slade. I think Slade was also good. It's nice to have a guy with a big old left boot on him, which helps balance out the back line. Plus, Fei Wabuso maybe the best game I've seen him play for England in quite some time. He was so busy on the carry as well. A bunch of carries, a couple of line breaks. Kaluri came off the bench and got a couple of line breaks. So the width in the English game was also very easy on the eye last week. Freeman is there and Marcus Smith there, who was a bit of Johnny on the spot, filling out halfback at the end of the game. We'll be hoping to, I guess, stick to 15 for this one. Reserves, Kawandiki, Yogan, and Okpoko is a little bit of tinkering as well because Yogan comes in. So Okpoko is going to cover tight head this week rather than loose head. Tom Curry, Henry Pollock, the two loose forward replacements, and then Ben Spencer, Bernard Jansen van Rensburg, and Noah Kaluri. Ben Spencer comes in for the injured Alex Mitchell. Jansen van Rensburg was solid in his debut last week, got himself a try. And Kaluri looks the business, doesn't he? Got himself on the scoreboard as well for his debut, so very, very pleasing. Stats-wise for these teams, Argentina, a lot of passing in their opening two games, 193 passes in just the first two games, and just under 20 kicks per game. So high tempo, high passing, a bit fewer areas of boot to ball. And the biggest area of improvement for me between game one and game two was their post-contact meters. Their physical edge over the Welsh was considerable. They went from 246 against the Scots to almost 400 against Wales, 397 post-contact meters. So the physical edge was evident in that game against Wales, and it's what allowed them to really pull the game away from them. For England, the set piece has been good, man. Scrum last week was good. We probably didn't see enough scrums against the Box to get a full reading on it, but certainly against Fiji, they have a big-time upper hand. Line-out's been at 97% this season, 100% in the Nations Championship. And for all the grief that Steve Borthwick cops, 26 defenders beaten a game is pretty good. They had 32 against Fiji, so it's a very offensively capable side. One area that might be a little bit troubling is the line breaks conceded at 7.4 for this season, but in some big games, like against South Africa, against France, against Scotland, it's been 10. You would want to keep that number a lot lower. So this is, I would consider, a big game. Argentina over in Argentina. So they'll want to be a lot tighter defensively. I mentioned that Argentina can't beat England. Goodness me, the last 5 games, they've played each other a fair bit. A few times in 2025 when England toured Argentina, and then the reverse fixture in November. They all were won by England. Then there's 2023 World Cup, a couple of games, both English wins, including that early red card game where George Ford took the game away from the Argentinians. They don't fare well up against the English. 27-17 is the average score across the last 5. So England at least 10 points to the good on most occasions. They are the favourites, England, for this one. 1 point with the bookies and 3 points with the Rugby Forecast algorithm. So they are heading into this one's ever so slightly ahead. It is on at Santiago del Estero. It is on at 4:10 in the afternoon. So it should be a good game. Angus Gardner is the referee for this one, the Aussie, so hopefully he has a good game. I think he's a pretty decent ref. He was one of my dad's favourites, that's for sure. But, yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts. Can Argentina finally buck the trend of English losses? Or do you think the English rugby team goes one better than how the football team went recently? You guys take care. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.